welcome to Profile Trade TV. Today we are here with Brendan from Ghost Consultancies. Really looking forward to hearing all about services and that really in-depth feeling about trainers. So I'm just going to welcome you and let you introduce yourself if you don't mind, Brendan.
Okay, my name is Brendan Murphy. I own Ghost Consultancy. So I'm a business consultant, business coach, kind of jack of all trades. So what I do is, well, I suppose the easiest way to put it down is I work with a load of different types of businesses in a load of different industries. That's not what's important. What's important is the owners or the key decision makers in that business, they just want to be better. So they bring me in and I just give them the tools to help them improve, whether it's with their social, whether it's with their business, whether it's with their sales teams, marketing, anywhere where they want to improve. And I just give them the tools. And the plan is once those tools are in and those plates are spinning, then I leave and I get back out there again. And sometimes I go back a couple of months later, but most of the time they're up and they're running and they're happy. Like, it's a bit intensive, but I enjoy it. I love it.
That's brilliant. And what's your background? Is it you come from a training background?
No, well, I was a bar manager for 10 years and then I went into sales. I worked for a Fortune 500 company for another 10 years. So I would have been the corporate public sector account manager for a really big company. So I would have looked after all the kind of multinational companies and the governments all down in the Republic. I met my wife there and I ended up living in Lisburn, kept working there. And then after that, I went into recruitment. So I was doing sales recruitment. So I was a sales trainer as well. So I'm trained as a sales trainer. And then I went into recruitment and I was specializing in sales. But what had happened was as I was getting in with the clients and I was working on them on recruiting their sales teams or sales managers or telesales or whatever, sometimes I would be asked to train them. And then other times when I was looking at the business as a whole, I suppose, instead of just looking at sales, I look at what feeds into sales and from the marketing point or the SEO point, and then what feeds out of sales in repeat business or in customer service or customer experience. I was getting asked to do more stuff there than I was in the recruitment part. So I had to make a decision either to keep on doing the recruitment or move into the consultancy. So I moved into the consultancy.
And so obviously it was a big step to go out and start your own business. So what was it, just that realization that actually your skill set was probably different to what people were asking you? Or?
I think like what was happening was when I was dealing with business, a lot of the people that knew me, like I'm very lucky. I have a thing, I call it my war chest. And these are professionals who are at the top of their game in what they do. And if I'm in with a client and I think introducing them to someone on my war chest will help their business, then I make the introduction. So if it's a case that it's SEO or if it's building a website or if you need help with your telecommunications or anything like that, I will go, look, if you trust me, I trust this guy or this girl here. They'll come in and they'll see you right. And these people that I kind of keep around me, I suppose they were always saying, you're wasted in recruitment. You should be doing more, because I would be helping them with their business or helping other people on the side. And they just said, look, you're better off over here. This is where you live. This is where you should be. So I just made a transition and it seemed seamless enough. I mean, it's not without its problems. And, when you start off a business, like anybody starts off a business, it's important that you have clients and people that trust you. But I think my pedigree speaks for itself. So when I'm telling people, or advising people about changes to make in their business, it's because I've seen it done or I've experienced it being done before or I've been involved in it. But it's not a one size fits all. So for some clients, I'm just in as just a motivation. You said you were going to do this by today. Have you got it done? No. What is the knock-on effect to your business for you not having this done? Well, I won't get that and that done. No. So let's get this done. To sitting down and advising or training salespeople, looking at the whole process of how an order passes through a business. I was doing that a couple of weeks ago, where what normally happens is 8 years ago, a PO would have come in and there would have been a mistake made. So now the PO has to be checked by Dave. So from now on, the PO goes to Dave to get checked and then goes back into its normal cycle. But then we need 2 printouts of it over here, and one has to go into a file and one has to go over here, and then it goes back to Brian and then sends to Mary and Mary stamps it. And you're just going, that's just such a waste because of one mistake that was made. So let's streamline it back again. The PO comes in, it gets emailed there, not printed out anymore. We can sign it digitally. We can then put it up onto the server and send it on. And people kind of look at it and go, we should have been doing that for years,
Yeah.
but we weren't because of a mistake that was made.
Yeah.
You know, and it's about saying, right, that mistake was made once. It's not going to be made now. The person who made the mistake isn't even here anymore. So let's streamline your processes. A lot of businesses, you know, I hear a lot from people about thinking outside the box. Think outside the box, think outside the box. And that's good. But bring the tools from the box with you. Everybody's
Makes
thinking
sense.
outside the box, but they're leaving the tools that they should have brought all along. They're leaving them back in the box, and they're trying to be dynamic and trying to be completely inventive. And that's great. But you still have to have the basics of business. Like there's things like keep your promises big and small, you know, and sometimes you're looking at people. I have a client, and when I got in there first, I said, right, you offer a service to a load of businesses. Yeah. Do you have a service level agreement? No. What's that? So the first exercise we did was we sat down and we made a service level agreement, and my client turned around and he said, that's not done in this industry. And I said, well, you're doing it. And he was able to go to his clients, existing and new clients, and go, here's our service level agreement. And they were like, nobody has these. This is fantastic. Of course you can have the job, or of course we'll take you on. And, you know, it gives them a standard to say, we're going to work to this standard. Even if our competition or other businesses don't, we will work to the standard, and it will always be for the benefit of the client. So that's the kind of, I suppose, the long way about where I came from.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, just when I hear you talk, it seems to be that I think businesses don't realise these problems in their processes or whatever until they get somebody from the outside looking in, because they're always looking from the inside out, and it's very difficult when you're, especially if you're a business owner, especially if it's a family business. You're very engrossed in the day-to-day running of the business and the customers and all of that. But sometimes it takes somebody like yourself that's looking
just
from the
ask
outside
questions.
in. Yeah.
Why do you do it this way? And some of the answers are mad. Well, we've always done it that way. We've been doing it that way for the last 5 years. But why? You know, what I deal with when I deal with my clients initially is I work out what their core values is. A lot of them don't know what their core values is. A lot of them are fantastic engineers because they've always been engineers, but they don't know why they started a business as an engineer. And a lot of people don't know what success looks like or what their version of success is. So they go, I want to be successful. I say, right, what does success look like to you? Because there was a time in my life, and if I got to the day before payday and there was money in my account, if it was in the black, that was a measure of success for me. And that was years ago, but I did it. I did it once or twice. I said, this is brilliant. Let's keep this up. And then let's make another goal and let's plan another goal. But a lot of people, when you're talking about their core values and say, why are you in business? They don't know.
Yeah.
They just said, well, it was my dad's business and, you know, he retired and I took it over. I know, but why? Why are you doing this? Why are you not a sailor or in the army or flipping burgers? Like, but why this niche? Why? And what do you want to get out of it? And I find that a lot of people, when they genuinely realize why they do what they do, they get much better at it.
Yeah, and it's back to that accountability as well, isn't it? Because especially too, I think as a business owner, you maybe don't have the same accountability as you do when you work in a job. For example,
Sure.
When you're in a job, you have accountability. You have to do these certain things to get to payday. But when you're a business owner, you maybe don't have that same level of accountability, and sometimes it takes. You should have.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes
No,
someone.
I'm just thinking of a client. We were at what I do is a discovery meeting at the start. So I'm not suitable for everybody. And some people are not suitable for me where I don't want to work with them, or it might be a product that they're making, or it might be something that I just fundamentally don't agree with, or they might have a style of work where I'd say, look, I can't get involved there.
Yes.
In that. And I stood with one guy and we were having this discovery meeting and we were talking about his business, and it was a great meeting. And in the end he was kind of going, yeah, I think it might be a good idea. And I said, look, let me ask you this. You're the managing director. He says, I am. And I said, who do you answer to? And he said, nobody. I said, well, from now on you answer to me. And he liked it. That's not for everybody. Some people will go, I do not. You know, but for him it was good because somebody has to keep you accountable. You know, I'm lucky enough. I have my wife who is long suffering, but she keeps me accountable. She keeps my head. A lot of people say that my wife is my leveler because I'm a dreamer. I would say, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. There's nothing is impossible. Let's do this. And she kind of goes, all right, calm down a small bit, right? You're dealing with the real world here where people are doing real stuff. You know, yeah, it's a great idea, but I think you're pushing it too far or not far enough or whatever it is. But some people in their business, they're not accountable to anybody. No one's going to give out to them. I had a conversation with a guy on LinkedIn there recently. I had put up a post and he said, look, do you not think that people that are self-employed and small business owners like yourself are just, getting by working in a job that if they were being salaried in a company, they would be making more than they're making right now? And I said, look, I don't know about you, but a lot of people that I know that are in a job, they're not there for the salary. Even in my time in recruitment, most people, while they were leaving, pay would have been 6 or 7 on the list.
Yeah.
Like the top ones were the culture of the company, the attitude of the people, the products that we're doing. I don't agree with how they do business. I don't like that way. And then all the way down goes, yeah, and the pay could be better. So it's not about that. But I think when people get into work or they're starting a company or they're in a company, my clients aren't really like in trouble, if that makes sense. Oh, we're in trouble. They just say, we're doing well. We just want to be better. So what I do is I help them make incremental changes, create good habits. At the same time, they're stopping bad habits. And that's really hard because you have to say, you're no longer doing it this way. We'll now do it this way. So stop doing that and start doing this at the same time. So if you do that by 5 or 6 habits, things change and it can get frustrating. But I could come in. I know there are people out there and say, look, give me 2 days with your team and I will fix it all.
Yes.
I don't think that's possible. I'm not saying it is impossible, but I don't think that's the way, because people will revert back to their natural state and go, look, he's gone now. We'll just go back to the way we are. So I get quite involved in the businesses that I deal with on a personal note, which works, because I think if I'm going to hold somebody accountable for the decisions that we make, it's not like you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and I'm not listening to any protests from you. We decide as a team. I become an integral part of their team, and we decide as a team how we're going to drive things forward. And if we think it's a good idea, then I help drive it.
Yeah, which is really interesting because you mentioned obviously working with individuals, but you also work with teams as well.
Yeah. So I work with some individuals one-to-one. I have a client, and I go to his house every second Thursday, and I've been going for as long as I'm in business, and it's great because I sit at his kitchen table with his wife, and we make plans for the business, and then he goes, I've had an idea, or I've written something for his website, and he goes, would you have a read over that, and what do you think? And I said, look, maybe you could say that a different way, or this is a great idea, how do we capitalize on this? And he's coming on in leaps and bounds. But one of the great things about that guy is when I first started seeing him, I can find his tells really quickly. I can find people's tells quickly enough. I did some training in body language, and his was, he'd scratch his head, and I'd say, how did you get on with that now? Did you do that this week? And I'd say, right, don't lie now. And he's going, no, I didn't do it. Right, let's get working on it today. So, and we'll use the time to do this part of it. And it's nice because you go, how would you like to do the time? How would you like to use the time next week? Well, I'd like to work on this, and this. Right, then I can be prepared before I come down to what we're going to do. I've other clients then where there's over 50.
Wow.
I've a client possibly coming on now where there's a couple of 100, but I don't know if I want to go to that size. Yeah. I like to deal with the decision maker. I started a client there a couple of months ago, and the culture was toxic. They had at least 50 staff, but I had, first of all, a management meeting. And what I do a lot when I'm dealing with teams is I get a whiteboard, and up on top of it, how can we be better? And I said, there's no rules, even if it's, we could change the way the parking is laid out, or just how can we be better? Change the tea bags, whatever it is. And I facilitate these meetings, and like all the management teams started going, we could do this, and this would make things better, and this would make it easier, and this would make it easier. So then we went to the admin, and I had the same meeting with all the admin, and they were coming up with all their ideas for how they wanted to improve the business. And then I went down to the workers and sat down with all the workers, and they were like, no, it's never going to happen. I don't care what you're saying. It's never going to happen. But now the changes are happening, and the workers and the admin are going, this is fantastic. We told you what was wrong. I'm not just fixing it because you said that it's wrong. We'll come up with a solution. And the solution we're coming up with is working. So the attitude is changing. The culture, now you're turning the Titanic here. There was no trust between the owners and the workers, no trust between the workers and the managers. There might be 1 or 2 relationships, but other than that, terrible. But the work that we're doing on it is making a massive difference to the people inside there. Like, we're implementing a CRM, but I'm making sure that everybody that the CRM touches off gets a breakout meeting to say, this is important to us that we have this in the CRM. It's important that we have this. Because I've been involved where salesnet.com came in and was like, there's your CRM. What do I do? Just fill it out. But this one doesn't make any sense. Just fill it out. And they had massive problems getting people to adapt to it.
Yeah.
Because it's just forced upon you. Whereas if you're a part of it, it makes life easier.
Yeah, and back to you as well, just what you were saying about people's tells and people not doing stuff, and you know, this sort of relationship or this sort of business consultancy has to have that give and take relationship. It has to have the back to the accountability that if I ask you to do something or you ask someone to do something, that they have to do it, otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah, like it's very easy for me to turn around and say, you can trust me. But it's very hard for people to trust you, especially when it's with their business. That's their baby. That's their whole livelihood. And I know that the decisions that I make, there are repercussions. Mm-hmm. That man has a mortgage. That man has a wife and kids, or that woman has a house that she's trying to buy, or they're getting married. And I'm trying to give them ways to improve their business. But sometimes it costs money. Sometimes it's risk. Sometimes they're doing less work than they started out doing, only to ramp up again on the far side. But you know, to try and get people to trust you, it's tough enough when you're making decisions at that level. But once you get it in, and they know there's no way he's going to make a decision that's going to be detrimental to my business. So a case in point, I sign non-disclosure agreements with all my clients when I start. That's the very first thing, before a discovery meeting. And I say, look, that's yours. I now cannot talk. I can anecdotally talk about you, but I can never identify. I won't talk about you. And that's great. I have clients where, you know, because it's a risk, and I have one client, and a competitor has approached me and asked me, would you come in and work with us? And I said, well, what do you do? And he was telling me what he did. And I said, I can't. And I said, I can have a coffee with you and have a chat, but I can't take you on because I can't give you the best advice and him the best advice. No. Only one of you can get it. Now, I know there's people out there and they don't do that, and that's fine. I have no quarrel with that. But I went to my client and I said, look, just in case anybody tells you, I'm going for a coffee with XYZ guy. He's asked me to come on, but I can't. I'm not going to do it. But I just thought you should know. And he was like, well, I appreciate that. And I said, but as soon as we finish, I can go there. That's fine, but not while I'm with you. A lot of people don't do that, but I think that gives me the integrity that I need for my business, and I think that my clients need. So I have one client, and another competitor came and asked me if I'd work with him, and I said I can't. And he said, I'm pulling out of Northern Ireland geographically. Last month he did it, and I was sitting down with my client and I said, he wants me to go in. He goes, you should. I said, but not while he's in Northern Ireland, And he said, yeah, yeah. So he pulled out last week, and I met him with my client because they were no longer competitors. And he says, I'll give you a call during the week. And I said, that's fine. And my client was standing there going, you should. You know what I mean? But I won't when you're in competition. I don't think I could give you the best advice if I was dealing with somebody else that's in exactly the same industry, because then how do I remain neutral?
Yeah, it's very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. So, it's not difficult if you just decide that that's your rule. Yeah, I don't get some clients because I'm working with other clients. So, but you just decide whether you're going to do that or not do that.
Yeah, and in terms of services, I mean, is there particular niches you like to work in, or is it, as you say, you go into a business and you can start to identify what their needs are?
Like a recent client was a furniture shop. I never thought I'd do retail, but I think what happened is he was saying, look, we're great at what we're doing. We just want to be better at this. So there's nothing really, it depends on the driver. So the driver is always the decision maker that I think that's inside the business. And once they have it in their head that they want to improve and fundamentally improve what they're doing in their business, I don't mind what business they're in. It doesn't really matter. Because if it's retail or if it's hospitality, I deal with people, I have clients in the hospitality sector, and they just want to be different and they want to be better and they want to make improvements. And this is all great. And the stuff that we're doing that's in the pipeline now is fantastic. Like the guy I had in the furniture shop, we were working to put all these different things into place for his business. And I said, once these are in place and you action them, your competitors are going to be scratching their head because they will never be able to get to where you are, because we're working in the background, planning all this, and then we just execute, and they'll just go, what? How did this happen? We should do that. We can't do that. We don't have this. It takes 6 months to do it, and that kind of stuff. So a sector, no, not really. Whether it's hospitality or retail or business or finance, the one thing I don't touch inside someone's business is finance. I don't get involved in it because I think I'm not good at it. As in financial advice, I'm not qualified to do any of that. But I think if I get harbored by finance, I won't make recommendations or decisions. It's easy to go, we should do this. And then my client go, yeah, we can't afford that. Okay, let's do a scale down version of it. Or why can't we afford it? What do we need to do to be able to afford it? When is the business going to tell us that we have enough money to be able to do this? And how much work can we do that when we do have the money, it's ready to go? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, you're right. And sometimes it's just even that forward thinking and that forward planning around finance that
Yeah.
doesn't need to be into the nitty gritty of
Yeah.
it. But actually, if we do this, this is the consequence, or this is what we can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's really part of the.
I think if I'm
importance
sitting
in
down with the
growth and-
finances of a business, I'm in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Because I'll be no value to you. I will be absolutely no value to you. And B, if I start thinking about how much things are going to cost, how is that helping?
Yeah.
I have a client there, and we were totally redeveloping his website, and we went mental. He wrote all the content for his current website, and I brought him into the meeting room, put it up on the screen, and I said, "This is rubbish. This is rubbish. I don't need to see this. I don't need to see this." And he was like, he took it really personally, and I don't blame him. He wrote it, but it wasn't serving his client. It was serving the company's ego. It was the website telling you, look how brilliant we are. When I don't care how brilliant you are, I want a bike. You know what I mean? Why am I on your website? I want a cake. We've been making cakes since 1603. I don't care.
I just want to know
Just-
what cakes do you have and what can I have?
How
and
fast
what's the
can I get
service?
can I get a cake in less than 3 clicks?
Yeah.
Because that's the way the world is. I look at people, and I look at the way they behave, and then I try and model business to fit the behavior of the masses, because that's how they're behaving. Like if you look at something like a sticky topic now, like Brexit, right? The amount of people in Northern Ireland, like hundreds and thousands, went and got Irish passports because they don't want to queue in France or Spain or Portugal or Brussels. I can't think of another reason. You know what I mean? Because they were always entitled, they just never got it. And then people went, oh, Brexit, you'll have to queue. Like, if their patience is so low that they're getting a passport now, that in the unlikely event that they won't, there's only one airport in Europe has this extra queue for UK, and it's in Portugal. That's it. Everybody else is like business as usual, don't worry about it. But if that's the way society is, I better change my passport from a UK passport to an Irish passport because I'm entitled to, and it'll save me having to queue when I go to Ibiza next year on my holidays. Then people's patience is really, really small. So that's what I tend to look at when we're looking at my clients' websites and that, saying, look, how can I get to what I want in 3 clicks or less? Or how can I just call you? I'm a very verbal person. I like to talk to people about products or services. I have clients and they like to email, they don't like to talk. So have that functionality. Like, let me either talk to you or call you, or talk to you or email you or message you straight away so I get my answer. Because if I'm selling fire extinguishers and I'm on your website, I'm not browsing.
Yeah.
I need a fire extinguisher. Get me one as fast as you can. Give me piles of social, like when you're talking about Google reviews and social reasons why everybody uses this company because their service is really brilliant. Have that everywhere because I'll need that. Because if I'm going to Amazon to buy an iPad, I'm looking at the reviews. And if there's over 500 reviews and 5 stars, I'm buying it. If there's 20 reviews of 2 stars, I'm not getting that. So I need that. This is the way business has changed. So now you need social proof to turn around and go, yeah, I should get a business consultant. All right, let's have a look at Ghost Consultancy. And you Google Ghost Consultancy, and I'll come up. And I have Google reviews there from people that I have worked with. I'm very lucky that they're all very happy. I'm sure at some point someone's not going to be happy. But if you're looking for a business consultant or a business coach and you type in business coach or business consultant, Lisbon or Belfast, and my name comes up, there's reviews there of people that I've worked with, and they go, look, He does what he said he's going to do. That's great.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great ego boost for me too. But if I'm another consultant and I have no reviews, well, where are you going to go?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
Does that make sense?
No, it is. And actually, you touch on a really interesting point because business has changed. I mean, obviously, you're dealing with loads of different businesses. Have you ever come up to the challenge with a really traditional business that obviously needs to move forward in how business has changed and different customers? Is that a challenge,
Yeah.
or are people quite receptive to?
I think they're receptive to change, but I think sometimes, and I have said this for a long time, even when I first started out in sales, even before that, and I always go, explain it to me like I'm 5. If you can explain it to me like I'm 5 and I understand it, then I'll get what you're talking about. But if you start throwing in acronyms and jargon, I'll probably not get what you're talking about. And most businesses want to change; they just don't know. So I'll give you for example. One of the things that I talk about when I do a lot of talks for the enterprise organizations, and when I'm dealing with clients, I always talk about people's vertical markets, right? The difference between a horizontal market and a vertical market. To date, every single client that I've gone into, and I go, right, we're going to talk today, first day, day 1, we're going to talk about horizontal and vertical markets. Do you know what they are? They go, yeah. And I say, right, explain to me about your verticals. And he's like, I don't know. I know what you're talking about. None of them have known. Right, so I explain this is a horizontal market, this is a vertical market. The people in your verticals are the people that you do business with. Who are they? What do they look like? What companies they're from? What industry are they from? And how do we get more of them? How many in your verticals are you dealing with the top 5 in the country? No, I'm dealing with 8, 4, and 6. Right. So if you're dealing with 4, you should get 5 really easily. If you're dealing with 4 and 6, so let's get them. So then you've got 4, 5, 6, and 8. We'll get 7, no problem. But what will happen when you get number 1? But if you get number 1, they'll all fall in line. Of course they will. So now what do we need to do to get in front of number 1? So that's how we deal with the verticals. It depends on how you deliver. To answer your question, it depends on how you deliver the information. If I'm sitting with a guy or a girl who is really set in their ways about something, then sometimes that's okay. You can't fix everything. But if you sit down with them and go, look, the reason I want you to do this is this, this, and this. Your competitors are already doing it. They've been doing it for 10 years. I firmly believe that if businesses right now, and it's not my belief, I heard it from Gary Vaynerchuk a couple of months ago, where he turned around and he says, if you're not thinking now in your business that if you go, Alexa, get me a pizza, get me a pepperoni pizza. If you're not a pizza place in Lisburn or Belfast that has been onto Amazon and said, if someone asks for a pepperoni pizza, it's my company, then you're in trouble. If you're not planning that by now. Because right now, if they go, all right, Alexa, get me a 4-star pizza, or get me an Apache pizza, or get me a Dr. Rucker pizza, it doesn't matter. Like if they give a brand name, then you'll get the brand name. But if someone says, get me a cheeseburger, usually you'll pay it through your Amazon account and it'll just be delivered to your door. And if you don't say McDonald's or Burger King or any of the big chains, the local guy better be ready, because that's where business is going. But people don't want, it's not that they don't want to see it, they just think, oh, that's so far away.
Yeah, and you need to be at the forefront of your game. And back to, and just for us, even as an agency, I mean, we see voice as we are developing LX apps as we speak, because it's the next thing.
Yes,
we're very invested in video because it's now, but you have to be a step ahead. You have to be a step ahead.
And the thing about it is that if you're not ready, and I'm in with your competitor, we're going to be ready.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm the big I am. It's not because of that. It's because I look at the way the market goes and I look at the way people behave, and like people's patience is gone.
Yeah, there's no patience for anything.
Like you were showing me your web development side at the moment. I've got clients at the moment, and we're developing their websites, but we're developing from mobile up as opposed to PC down or laptop down.
Mobile first. Yeah. That's it. Mobile first.
The company that I use for the web development are delighted because they said, we've been talking to people for years about this, and they won't do it. And I said, look, if I can get it in 4 clicks on my phone, I'll get it. If you want me to type something, I'm done. I'll ring. That's me. Other people would love to sit there, but I said, see all that information. So one of the websites, I turned around and I said to the web development company, you give us the space that we're allowed to fill, and we'll fill to that space. If you leave it to us, there'll be pages. So they gave us gaps, and it's like 2 lines. So I said, now we have to be, how can we give exactly the right information in 2 lines that you have in your current website that is 3 pages long? And that was a challenge, but we've done it. So when his website is launched, it's going to be so user friendly. It's all about user experience. I mean, Apple taught us that years ago, but most businesses aren't thinking like that.
Yeah.
They're going, here's pictures of us you're in 1910, and here's pictures of the building that we just changed. I don't care about your building.
Yeah.
I just want my product, and I want it fast. I want the service. I want it immediately, and I want it to change because I have no patience.
Yeah, no, interesting as well. Just hearing you talk, you talk a lot about processes, and would you see that as integral into the businesses and business development as well, in processes in terms of how things are thought through, and how the business functions, I suppose.
I think there's very little cohesion between in businesses when they're talking about like their business pipeline. I don't think they give it as much importance as it is. So I give training in pipeline management, and once I start doing it, you can see it's like light bulbs go on, and people go, I never thought that sales is that integral. And I'm saying, like, the amount of salespeople that I would talk to, and I go, what's in your pipeline? And they go, 150 grand. I said, right, when you're at home and you're lying in bed and you're staring at the ceiling, how much is in your pipeline then? About 60. And I said, why don't you just say 60? And I go, because she'll kill me if I just say 60. And then I would always have the sales director, the sales manager in the part of the training. And I said, would you rather a solid 60 or lies 180? She goes, give me a solid 60. We have to buy raw materials for these lies. We have to allocate human people for, we say, hours if it's web development or if we're building an app, to a deal that's never going to happen. Tell me the truth. But salespeople can't do that, like, because they feel, I'm going to be in fierce trouble. I'm not going to hit target. No, you're not going to hit target. But companies don't turn around and go, maybe our targets are wrong. Maybe you're targeting the wrong thing. You know, it can't always be about turnover. It can't always be about money. Maybe it's about quality of client. Maybe it's about, look, we're not going to target you on money, but what we are going to target you on is we want you to get us into Allstate. Right? Okay, that's going to be a massive task. It's going to take me about a year. That's okay. That's your target. Allstate, or, you know, MRP, or like a really big company. Get us into Bombardier with our plastic cups.
Yeah.
What? That you're not tasked. You just get us in there, get the first order, and we'll pay your bonuses and everything else that goes with it. So the salespeople, I have an anagram that I deal with the pipeline management, and it's 6 questions. And I say, if you can get an answer to all of these 6 questions, then that's in your pipeline. If you can't get an answer to even one of them, yeah, it's in your prospects, but it's not in your pipeline. It's not real business. And the people that use it, it really works. And it's not rocket science, you know, and it's not a secret sauce. It's not a state secret. But if the salesperson uses it and they say, I need to ask these 6 questions, it qualifies the sale for me.
Yeah.
So the first one is authority. So it's under action, right? So the first one is authority. Has the person you're going to see got the authority to make the decision? Because if they don't go.
Yeah.
Why am I driving to Dundalk for a meeting with, you know, a sales manager who can't tell me whether he's going to buy the product or not? It's just a waste of time. And the best question that I've been able to come up with to find out if you have the decision maker without insulting them is, who besides you makes this decision? And I go, well, I don't make the decision, it's Dave. All right, can you make sure that Dave is in the room? Because if Dave's not in the room, there's no point in me coming down, because I'm relying on you to resell me to Dave, and Dave will have questions that you won't be able to answer. All right, okay. And if he comes back and says, Dave can't be in the room, I said, well, that's fine. When Dave can be in the room, I'll come down. Yeah. It's simple. C, it's under action. So C is criteria. What's their buying criteria? Do they want the most expensive? Do they want the cheapest? Do they want the best value for money? Do they want it in red? Or does it, you know, what is your buying criteria? What makes you buy when you buy? And it's just simple. No one's going to get insulted if you turn around and go, why do you make your buying decisions? What makes you buy when you see something? Right? T is your timeline. When do you want it for? Because you could be there going, this website, this deal for ABC company is going to fall in end of the month. It'll be in before the end of the month. It's 80 grand, it'll be in before the end of the month. But if you didn't ask the timeline, your client is kind of going, so we'll kick this off in January, lads. Yeah, we'll kick it off in January. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yes.
T, timeline. I is their intent. So I would always say, where did you hear about me? We found you on Google. Right. I know now you're talking to 4 or 5 coaches. That's fine. Yeah. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. If it's more than 3, I kind of don't get involved. I say, look, if you're talking to 5, talk to 4. I'm okay. I'm not getting in a rat race with other professional guys. Right? I do intend to say, I need 3 quotes. All right, well, that's fine. I'm aware of that now. I know I can tailor how I'm going to coach you. I'm going to add value rather than discount or whatever it's going to be. Always objections. And what are they? What are the objections? Do you have any objections? I have. What? I don't like the color. That's fine. You can have it any color you want. It's too big. It's too big for where? For here. Were you going to put it here? No, we were going to put it next door. You know? And N is the agreed next step. What's the agreed next step? So if I'm sitting down with the sales guys that are unfortunate enough to have me as their sales manager, and there are people out there that clients where I'm a sales manager where I come in and I'll help manage their team while they get another sales manager. But anybody that I work with, they're able to sit down with their pipeline and with their spreadsheet, and I'll say, look, action number 4 there for me. And they'll say, this is the guy, this is the company, this is buying criteria, this is what we're talking about. They don't want it till June. This is what's happening. This is the agreed next step. I'm going down to show them that machine in another factory tomorrow. And I go, brilliant. Now I can assume everything else is like that.
Yeah.
So that process has such a knock-on effect to the finance of the business, has a knock-on to the marketing part of the business. It's the lifeblood. It's what keeps the business ticking over. So that's a really long-winded way of answering your question about processes.
Right. I know, but it's really interesting just back to the reality and be realistic, because sometimes I think, especially in business, you're maybe not always realistic. You think, oh yes, that sale's going to come in, but just as you say, actually all those steps are very key factors in knowing straight away that actually, yes, they do want this, but maybe in say a year's time.
Yeah.
Which
it's not rocket
in your pipeline
science
then at the minute.
Yeah, so. And it's not rocket science. I'm not telling you to do something where it's almost an impossibility or something that's outside your comfort zone. I had a sales guy one time and I was going through his pipeline and he didn't have the timeline on any of them. And I said, sit down there, ring all of them and get the timelines. He got 2 deals out of it on the day because he asked, when do you want this for? And they said, oh, we need it for next month. Well, like there's a 3-week wait and this is going to take 3 weeks to get to you. I'll send you a PO today. But we need it. It's important. Whereas if he didn't ask the question, he wouldn't have known. Does that make sense?
No, you're right.
So this is what I suppose echoed with what I was saying at the start. I'm not giving you a secret sauce. This is the tools that are in the box that people forget about when they're thinking outside the box. And that's what I try to reinforce. I'm sure other people can do it. But my clients hire me to do it with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. Really, really interesting. So what's the future? What's the growth plans? What's the big plans for Ghost Consultancies?
I suppose I had a big think about this, and I thought about maybe expanding, and bringing people on, and then coaching people to be coaches, type of stuff. And I spoke to some of my clients about it, and I said, if I sent somebody else in, would you be happy enough if I trained them? And they're like, no. And I suppose you have to look at what success looks like for me. Mm-hmm. And what success looks like for my family. So for the foreseeable future, it'll just be me. I kind of like that. My clients like it. I don't want to drive myself into the ground. As I said, I work for a Fortune 500 company, and I remember, and I know a lot of people, it's around 5:30 or 6 o'clock on Sunday when people start getting worried about Monday morning. Yeah. I don't have that. I don't have it, and I don't want it again. I had it for a long time in sales, where you're going, 2 weeks to target, and I don't have this. And I feel that if I grew the business and employed people and trained people up, then I'm not doing what I'm doing. Then I'm just running a company. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't want to run a company. I want to be like, it's like, I suppose the whole pretense of Ghost, even the reason it's called Ghost was that I get in and I get out and nobody knows I'm there. I have one client and the MD is the only person who knows what I do in there. And I walk in and out of the business and I sit down and we have meetings and he changes all the things. But like the people don't know who I am. Well, they may not, but like sometimes they go, and what do you do here? You're only here every now and again and you're only here for a couple of hours. What do you do here? And I go, ask the boss. Yeah. It's not for me to tell you what I do here. Does that make sense? Yeah. No, so I think for the foreseeable future, I'm happy that it's just me. Yeah. I think I can make the impact when I'm in just me with the decision makers and helping them drive their business. I have a very low tolerance. For people that aren't working to their full potential. Swinging the leg, that's a phrase you have up here, isn't it? Swinging the leg. And I get very annoyed when I see that. Like, so when I see people, It's about let's go full tilt.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very much a doer. So hopefully that makes a difference to the people that I'm currently working with or people that want to work with me in the future. It's about going in and getting it done. Like if I say, oh, I know a guy that will fix that for you, he'll call you by close of business today. I'll make my call. I'll do what I say I'm going to do. That person will call you by close of business. It's like my war chest. They know that if I call, there's business in there for them. They have to, don't be mucking about my clients. You know what I mean? Don't be putting the arm in. They won't put the arm in. You'll get the best value for money. You'll get the best deal because I continually use them. And that's very important to me that we keep that relationship and that my clients know, right, he says that we need to fix the phones, right? This is the guy that's going to come in. Just listen to him. He'll do it. If he can't do you a good deal, he won't. But he'll give you the best bang for your buck. And they go, okay. And they surrender to it. And they always get the best value for money. And that's important. I like doing the talks at enterprise organizations. I've got, I think, 5 more before Christmas.
Brilliant.
But I enjoy that. I like going into people that are just starting off their business because they're either a brilliant groomer or they're fantastic at engineering, or like I've got a client and he has a gin distillery.
Wow.
And I'm working with him, but he's brilliant. But I work with him ad hoc, on and off, and then a little bit, and then maybe not for another couple of months. But he'll ring and he'll go, I'm doing this, and can you come down? And I'd go down to where he lives, and we'll sit down in his house, and dogs run around the place, and we'll just start working on a plan that we're going to do. So I like that part of it. I like dealing with micro businesses. As I said earlier, I don't know if I'll ever deal with a huge business because there's too much red tape. You know, you're dealing with line managers and then area managers and directors and sub-directors, and you're just going, look, we need to make a decision here, and you're having a meeting about a meeting, and we're getting nothing done. So there's enough business out there for everybody. I just like to be able to get in and help and then get out. And as soon as I can get out, then I can work with other people, or sometimes they're competitors, but that's rare. I think, it's not really, I don't know how I would even sit with that. Like, I know there's one guy, all right, but I don't know how that's going to sit with me. I might not be able to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It has to tick a box for me and go, this is okay. Is it okay that you gave company A and company B the same advice, and now company B is following faster than company A? I don't know if my compass will let me do that, but we'll see. We'll see.
So if somebody wants to avail of your services, Brendan, what's the best way to contact you?
Call me.
Yeah, brilliant. And we'll put your number up there.
Yeah, and the website, there's a contact page through the website.
Brilliant.
But yeah, it always starts with a just discovery meeting where we just sit down and we have a conversation, and we work out from there whether it would be of any use.
Yeah.
You know, there's only been one since I started that I couldn't work with. I can't do anything about that. You know, I don't think, I just don't think, it doesn't sit well with me at this particular company. I said, look, I can't. Other than that.
Which is great, because sometimes it's so important to be able to say no as well.
Well, I was always told you'll only ever really know that you're doing something right when you sack your first client. And that was something I was always really afraid of. And then I did it. And I was kind of like, it is more important to me that I've got clients who just want to do it. Like, you deal with some people and they'll bring you in because they want to have a coach, or they want to have me, or they want to have a business consultant come in and look at their business, but they've no intention of doing anything. Other people are really happy to take that guy's money. I can't.
Yeah.
Because I could be spending that time over here with someone who really wants to make a change. You know, why not? Why not do that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it really does.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming in
Oh,
today.
no problem.
It's been so interesting.
Thank
I've
you.
learned loads of stuff as well. So
Great. Great, I'm glad.
Taxing your brain by the end of it,
No
really,
problem.
asking you all these millions of questions. It's been really interesting having you in. So thank you so
No
much for
problem.
your time. And that's all from us today at Profile Tree TV. Please do look out for some more really interesting people coming in. And thank you so much to Brendan today for coming in. It's been really interesting.
Thank you.